Mary Ann Leffel, host of this segment of Your Town. I'm president of the Monterey County Business Council. We hope you'll join us every month as we explore our community and introduce you to companies that you may or may not know about, but also learn a little bit more about your community. So my second guest today is Jon Stuefloten, who has a fabulous painting company. And I told him, I read about him in the Pine Cone a while ago and was just in awe of what he's done. So I'm so happy he's joining me today. Jon, welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm pleased to be here.
So when the article was in the Pine Cone, was it about a year, 2 years ago?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I remember reading it thinking, wow, what a career and what an opportunity. So when I see what you've done, you're really at the pinnacle of I think, painting and restoration. So do you want to, I know you've done the Carmel Mission.
Yes.
And you want to just talk about a couple of the other really memorable projects you've had?
Well, having lived here all my life, and we slowly worked into that vein of work, historical restoration. And we've done the Lighthouse Keeper's House at Point Sur Lighthouse. We started that, I think, in 2003. And we've been working there off and on ever since. And after the Lighthouse Keeper's House was redone, then we've done all the fences up there. And then last year we actually did the roof of the lighthouse. It's all solid copper, and we had to get up there. They made a special ladder for us to be able to get up there and work. And we all had to be tied off in safety chains and harnesses and all. It was quite a project. And we just finished a project at the Point Pinos Lighthouse, helping them get rid of some lead-based paint that we're certified to do. And we've also worked at the old Capitol Club. It's called Casa Ameste here in Monterey, just down the street here. And we did the Castro House in Aptos, total restoration inside and out. And so we've been really fortunate to work on those kind of projects. And Carmel Mission, I was honored to actually prepare Father Sarah's grave for canonization. I think that may be the article that you saw.
It was, yes.
And as a matter of fact, I met with Father Paul yesterday, and we have projects coming up with some restoration at Crespi Hall behind the main chapel. And actually, I've worked on that in the past too. 8 years ago, we restored the interior, and about 3 years ago, we did the exterior. Now they're going to remodel the kitchen in there and put some more office space in, and I'm going to help them with that project and have the new part look like the old part. So.
Yeah, it's an amazing skill. It truly is. Mm-hmm. And you and I were talking earlier that you actually learned by working with your dad.
Yes. Who
worked for Comstock, correct?
Yes, correct. And Comstock's painter was Al Nevis Painting, and his father-in-law was a man who had a business in Monterey on Lighthouse called the Furniture Art Studio. And Lyle Ingram was his name. And I think I'm the only one who ever apprenticed with him. And he did the marbleizing techniques and the wood graining and all of that, all from natural earth elements that we used. And I had a special upbringing there. And I worked for him for about a year. And that has steadied me through my lifetime. And now I'm doing those old techniques again. And I've taught them to my crew. I have 3 of my crew who have been with me 21 years now, and most of my crew have been with me quite a while. I think my newest guy is 12 years.
That's remarkable. How large is your crew?
We have a 7-man crew.
Okay.
Ranges from 5 to 7 throughout the year. And we're lucky enough to get a lot of those types of interesting jobs, and to have people seek us out for that. As we did that beautiful Queen Anne Victorian in Pacific Grove, the Dr. Hart House. we were honored to do that 2 years ago, and
It's a showcase. It's beautiful
Yeah.
when you drive past it.
yeah, the Pacific Grove Heritage Society just gave it an award for its painting, and so I was back east. I couldn't go to it, but I sure was pleased it got the award.
So, and did you do the Frank Lloyd Wright House?
I've worked on it. Which one are you talking about?
The Butterfly House?
I definitely worked on the Butterfly House, yeah. As a matter of fact, I've known that house all my life because the owner-builder who built it was a local architect, and his son was in my class at Sunset
Okay.
in 52 when they built it. I think it was started around 50 and then was finished about 52. And so I've known that house, and then I was able to help restore that about a year and a half ago. It since has been sold and been redone by somebody else, but I'm doing the house right next door to it, which is called On the Rocks. And we're just about finished with that project right there on Scenic. It's quite a project. So as a matter of fact, we're going back to seal a lot of the fancy stucco work that was done there. It's so, it's sitting right on the rocks, and the waves actually splash.
It really
the
takes a
house.
beating
Yeah.
from the elements.
So they didn't think they had to seal it, but I insisted that they do. And after some time has gone by, they saw that what I said was necessary to do. So we're scheduled to do that soon. And we're going to be starting some other interesting projects coming up. And we're down in Otter Cove restoring a Mark Mills house. Mark Mills was an architect apprentice who worked on the Frank Lloyd Wright house, the boathouse on Scenic in Carmel. He apprenticed with Frank Lloyd Wright. And after that project, he did several homes on the peninsula. And one of them was down in Otter Cove. And so they're all historically important, and they will be more as time goes by. So we're looking forward to that project.
I think for me, it's very inspiring that people are caring enough about historic properties to do it right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really important. And also, I'm thrilled that we have someone with your skill set that is here that can do it, and that you've been able to train other people, presumably. That you've got a large enough crew that you can do more than one and work on things.
Yes, and throughout the years, I've sent my crew in batches down to Los Angeles to Venetian plaster school that they got certified in, and I've sent them to full finish school at various colleges around Central California, and we continually educate our crew and train them with the new techniques and the old techniques. So each one of them just about knows everything I know already, having been with me so long. I don't really need to babysit them very much. They're pretty straightforward, and I get so many compliments from the homeowners that we work with on how polite the crew is and what a joy it is to have them, on the project. And they really take care, and they're concerned about the home, and they really watch out for it. And we were doing a deck here in Monterey recently, and the homeowner was a little concerned because she saw a bucket with a bunch of rags in it and was worried that my crew had left some thinner rags in a bucket, except for the fact that 7 years ago in Los Tulares, when the neighbor, we were painting a house up there, and about a half a block away there were painters doing a deck, and they burned the deck and the house down. And my crew got the best lesson without having a problem about how to properly take care of that, because that bucket contained water and all the thinner rags were in the bucket of water so that nothing could happen. And they're already ahead of it. They already see that and already mitigated any problem.
Well, I think the tragedy is the Harmony House in Carmel.
Yes.
Was it 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago?
Yes. There's an example right there.
It's just I mean, that's just crazy. They had totally finished the entire remodeling project, and that was like the last bit of it.
I know.
And they've lost a significant historic, not the entire structure, but a lot of the things that were inside also.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I feel really bad for Carol and Don Hilburn that happened.
Yes. I'm on the board of directors of the Carmel Heritage Society, and as a group, we were very saddened by that event. You know, and we have our house tour coming up at the end of the month here. So that's next weekend, actually, and I'm going to be part of that.
So I was on that board for about 4 years.
Ah.
And, Ted Leidig
Oh, I know Ted.
and Tony Salome recruited me to be on that board. I sat on it, I think, 4 years, maybe 5. And I worked that house tour every year. So,
So you know.
yes, I really enjoyed it, though. And I think the warmth of the people who open their houses and are willing to show what fabulous structures there are in Carmel.
I've been so impressed by the board there, who are so concerned about their mission and helping to preserve the historical parts of Carmel and showing them off. That's another thing. And keeping that original Murphy house in good condition. You know, we're working on that all the time.
Do you know what date is the tour?
It's this weekend.
So the 23rd or 24th, 25th?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it just one day or
Yes,
two?
it's just one day.
On Sunday?
Yes, it is Sunday.
So Saturday the 20th.
Because I put the
Sunday
balloons
the
out,
25th.
and first thing I do is I take all the balloons to each house, and then I'm going to be manning one of the houses on Lincoln.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you get tickets? Do you go to the First Murphy house?
You can get them from the First Murphy house, or you can get them online at the Carmel Heritage's website.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it carmelheritage.org?
Yes.
Okay. So if someone wants it, they could do that.
Yeah. You can get them also at the Frank Lloyd Wright House, the boathouse on Scenic. That day you can get them there too.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if they missed this year, they could look for next year to see when the tour is.
Excellent. Yeah.
So good. Well, it's a great fundraiser, and it's a great way to see some of the beautiful, beautiful homes in Carmel. So,
Yes, it is.
So it's good.
Yeah. You know, I went to Sunset and I went to Carmel High, and it's great to be part of that. And I was able to march in the parade at the Centennial, and because we had our group marched with a banner and all, and we all got into period correct clothing. And I went to San Jose and rented a outfit from a theatrical company's rental place. It was quite fun, and enjoyed being a part of Old Carmel.
Yeah, no, I think that's important. The Marienda was the first week in June, Monterey's 247th birthday.
Yes.
And my husband's a retired Army Lieutenant Colonel, artillery. So he had a replica uniform made of when the first artillery unit was at the Presidio, and he wears that every year. And, it's just, it really kind of puts you into the spirit of the event. So
that's important.
It is important. Yes, it's good.
To keep that feeling up.
So, John, how do you find, if you need a new employee or you need someone, what kind of skills do you look for? Or how do you find the right person?
Oh, good question. Well, we've been in the trades here for all our lives, so we know the tried and true, who's responsible, who's trained, and we don't go out of our close group very far at all if we need to put on additional workers. I know the tried and true guys, they've worked with us off and on throughout the years, and we only get real experienced people. And I pay them very well, probably the top in the industry, and so we keep a high level of expertise that way. We don't tolerate any nonsense, and we want just true professionals, and we know who they are. So
I think that's important.
when we have to go outside, there are a few around.
Good.
And we we love working with them from time to time. Conlon Keeter, I don't know if you know Conlon, he's probably hands down the finest painting artist in Central California. He can paint a fly on the wall that you'd swat thinking it was real. I mean, he's incredible.
Wow.
And there's a few times that we've worked together and enjoyed that very much. So that's an example.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how far out are you booked?
Good question. We have about 15 jobs waiting right now on our books, and we're a good month and a half out usually right about now. We have probably 4 projects going on right now. And I just got a text that one of my contractors is ready for me to start a project that we're going to do in Carmel on 12th Street. And we're going to do a full finish throughout the entire house, wood graining and faux finishing. So we do a lot of work with Bell McBride Builders, and we also have a couple of wallpaper hangers that work with us, and we hang a lot of paper on the peninsula. It's coming back in popularity.
Yes, it is.
It really is, and there's some beautiful work being done. And a lady out of New York who just moved to Oregon, who does murals on paper and one-of-a-kind hand-painted. Oh, we've had some beautiful ones we've done for Stoker Allaire down the coast and in Pebble Beach. And we've restored quite a few of those homes there.
That's exciting.
Yes, it is.
It's really exciting.
And we get to work with lime wash paints and old world products like that. And we get, from a 500-year-old Roman quarry, we get this lime paint that we can tint, and we make it right on the job. It just comes in powdered form, and we make the paint on the job for each project. And all my crew know those formulas, and it's special.
So we're going to run out of time, but you have a paint that you actually devised for the Milk Paint Company.
Yes.
A color. What is that color?
Well, that's a good question. We were doing this house that's right behind the 18th green at Pebble Beach at Stillwater Cove there. And it's a Tudor house, and it's quite large. And they contacted us to restore all the gray kind of weathered Tudor look. And so I worked with the gal at Eco Carmel, Christine, who I really like. And we got a piece of a cabinetry that was the right color, and we took it down to her shop and we matched that color, and then had the factory in Tennessee reproduce it for us in some volume so we could do this house. And at the end of the project, I wanted to give the formula to the homeowner so that he could have it in the future. And so I contacted the Milk Paint Company in Tennessee and for the formula, and they said, well, gee, John, you don't have to worry about the formula. We like the color so much, we want to make it a stock color for our company, and we'd like to have you help us name it. So my wife and I opened a bottle of wine at home, and we sat down and started thinking, and she came up with Stillwater Gray, and that was a winner right away. So we forwarded that to Tennessee, and they loved it, and they came out with a national campaign introducing the paint to the public, and we had a ribbon cutting down at Christie's business on San Carlos and Carmel, and it just took off.
I love that.
Yeah, it was wonderful. So we got to be a part of that, and that was very rare.
So.
Yeah.
So John, thank you so much. I love talking to you, and I love what you do. I mean, you are a true professional and a true artist. So thank you. So this is your town. Don't go away. We'll be back in a minute. Mr. Jon Stuefloten, if you need painting, he's the guy. So we'll see you in a few minutes. Thank you so much.